welcome to Extension Monthly. I'm Jennifer Davidson, the County Coordinator here in Russell County with Alabama Cooperative Extension, and I'm excited today. We have Katie Funderburk, who came from the Auburn campus from the Nutrition Education Program. We're going to talk a little bit about nutrition specifically as it relates to children today. So Katie, welcome. Thank you for coming down.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
I know it's kind of early in the morning because we live on fast time here in Russell County, or most of Russell County, and you live on slow time.
Right, so I'm an hour behind.
She said it was normal time, but I said fast time, slow time. So anyway, I wanted to ask you something. So we just updated our National Nutrition Guidelines. Is that right? Tell me a little bit about that.
Right. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans. They come out every 5 years. A panel of nutritionists and scientists get together and review all the information that's out there and come up with a set of guidelines that tell us what makes a healthy diet for the average American. So for a long time, the guidelines have stayed relatively the same. We've known to limit our intake of saturated fats like butter and animal fat. We know to limit our intake of sodium, try to eat more fruits and vegetables, whole grains, low fat and fat-free dairy. But this year, and they just came out in January of 2015, they've added a new guideline, and it has to do with sugar. So we've probably heard that things like sugar is bad for you, or Americans eat and drink too much sugar. And there's been enough evidence at this point to say that eating sugar in excess does in fact increase your risk for overweight and obesity, diabetes, and other health problems.
Didn't we sort of already know that?
We sort of already knew that. It's not new news, and it has been in the guidelines to limit your consumption, but the problem is they never gave us an amount. So they just say limit it, but to what? And with the other nutrients like fat and sodium, we had a number that we could say, okay, don't eat more than this amount of fat or sodium.
Gotcha.
We finally have that for sugar. And that number is that it should be, your consumption of added sugars should be less than 10% of your total calories.
Okay, that sounds complicated. How am I going to know that when I'm
Exactly.
when I'm going through the drive-thru and I want to order a Coke instead of a Diet Coke?
Exactly. So it doesn't have a lot of real-world significance to say that in calories. We don't think about sugar in calories. A lot of times we think about sugar in grams. That's how it's on the label. And here's an example of a nutrition facts label right here. And you can see sugar is always going to be listed in grams right there under the total carbohydrate. So this sample label for mac and cheese has 5 grams of sugar.
Mac and cheese has sugar?
You'd be surprised at the foods that have added sugars that aren't sweet. Sugar has other properties, like it helps the texture of food and it helps preserve foods. And so it's added into a lot of processed and packaged foods. And that's the key right there, is the addition of sugar. So when we talk about a sugar limit, I'm talking about added sugars, not natural sugars. So sugars are found naturally in things like fruits and vegetables, milk, some whole grain products. And those products have the benefit of having extra nutritional value like fiber, calcium, protein, vitamins, and minerals. But when you take regular sugar and just add it to foods for flavor, you're not adding any nutritional value, you're just adding the sugar, which comes along with the calories. So something like a beverage, a juice drink or fruit drink or soda that just has sugar added into it, there's no additional nutritional value with that.
Let me ask you this. So there's been a bunch of talk about high fructose corn syrup and how terrible that is. But isn't that just sugar?
It really is.
I don't know the difference.
It's very similar in chemical makeup to sugar, and it just is made from corn instead of sugar, which is made from another plant, sugar cane or sugar beets. And
so is it can't possibly be that much worse for you.
The problem
it's the same,
isn't between high fructose corn syrup versus table sugar.
Right.
The problem is that there's just so much of it into foods, and so if you're not careful and you're not mindful of what you eat, you can end up by the end of the day eating a lot of sugar, whether it's in the form of high fructose corn syrup, table sugar, or even natural sugars. Overdoing it with sugar leads to overweight and obesity, no matter what the source.
Sure. Okay, very cool. All right, so what do you have here that you're going to demonstrate for us?
So I thought I would take us through a typical day so we could actually see what those grams of sugar look like.
Okay.
So if you take a 2,000 calorie diet and the guideline that 10% or less should come from calories from sugar, doing a little bit of sugar math, that comes out to 50 grams of sugar.
Okay, so 50 grams is like what we're wanting to shoot for.
Right, because 200 calories would be 10% of 2,000 calories, which is what we say that's a typical diet. And I know that there's 4 calories in 1 gram of sugar. So doing the math to get there, you get 50 grams of sugar.
So 50 is the magic number for sugar at this
50
point.
is the magic, 50 grams of sugar.
Okay.
But even still, when we look at sugar, we don't know what a gram looks like.
Yeah, I don't.
So I can do a little bit more math, and I know that there are 4 grams in 1 teaspoon.
Okay.
So 4 grams of sugar in 1 teaspoon.
Oh no, that doesn't sound like a lot of sugar we're allotted.
It's not.
I'm in trouble.
So 1 teaspoon of sugar would have 4 grams. So then from there, I just do the math and look at the label on where the sugar's listed on a food label, and figure out how many teaspoons would be in that food based on how many grams are on the label.
Okay.
So let's say we have some cereal for breakfast, and this actually looks like sort of a healthy choice for a cereal, because if you look at the label, it's a protein cereal. It says it keeps you satisfied. It's got whole grains listed right here. It says there's 190 nourishing calories. So the marketing on this thing is telling me this is a good choice. I'm going to pick this. Start my day off right.
Right. I might have picked that because of the protein.
Exactly. Okay. So when you go and look at the actual label, there's 16 grams of sugar in this one container. So if I know there's 4 grams in a teaspoon, we do the sugar math, and we have 4 teaspoons in that one cereal. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 teaspoons of sugar.
Well, that doesn't look like
cereal.
much, actually. Right. Okay.
But think about if you took a plain cereal and you flavored it with maybe some sliced bananas or berries, and even if you sprinkle a teaspoon or 2 of sugar, that's still less than what's added into this sugary cereal.
Okay. Okay.
So that's just one thing. So that was your breakfast.
Okay.
So we've got 4 teaspoons and 16 grams of sugar to start our morning off. And remember, we only have 50 grams for the whole day. So then around lunchtime, let's say you eat a turkey sandwich, and on the side you have a cup of yogurt. This is a low-fat strawberry banana yogurt, and according to the label, it has a whopping 33 grams of sugar.
Yes.
So yogurt's a tricky one, because
Yeah,
remember,
it is.
milk has natural sugar, and yogurt's made from milk. But I can tell you that a 6-ounce cup of yogurt should only have 12 or fewer grams of sugar naturally.
Okay.
And that comes from the lactose, which is milk sugar.
But that would be plain yogurt, right?
That would be plain yogurt.
Okay.
Right. So it would have 12 grams of sugar.
Okay.
So that means that even this flavored yogurt doesn't have just a little extra sugar. It has 21 extra grams of sugar. And so that's all added on top of the natural sugar that's already there. So that equals 5 teaspoons.
Okay. Which
So
still doesn't sound like
1,
much, right? I don't know.
2, 3,
I think I may be eating too much sugar.
4, 5. It may not be too much if that's all
know,
you've
that
had
looks
for the
like a
day.
lot. Yeah, that looks like a lot.
It looks like more than you think about.
Yeah.
And so at this point, you're at lunchtime, you're going to have something to drink. And so let's say most of us would reach for a canned soda. I know we don't say soda in the South, do we? So this is a real doozy when it comes to sugar. So I'm just going to count these out until we get to what it really is, and then I'll tell you how many grams there are.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7? Okay.
Nope, not done yet.
8, 9, 10.
There you go.
Okay. That much sugar in a can of Coke.
10 teaspoons of sugar.
Isn't a can of Coke supposed to be two servings? No?
A can is 1 serving.
Oh, okay.
But you bring up a really good point, because a lot of us drink from a 20-ounce bottle. So
Okay.
you can just about double that. And that's really all there is to this. So water would be the first ingredient, and then sugar comes right along after that. So this is what you drink when you drink a 12-ounce can of soda. All that sugar right there. So you've had your breakfast, you've had your lunch, and you're already now at 77 grams of sugar. So you've already topped out and
Really,
gone
a
over
can
the
of Coke
50
does
gram
it for you.
limit. It
Really?
does it for you.
Yeah, the whole day.
You've already topped out. You're over
Okay.
the limit, but you're still hungry. Around 3 o'clock, you're going to reach for a snack.
Sure.
So you're going to try to make a good choice and go with a granola bar. That's okay. Granola bars are good for us. Whole grains. Usually maybe sometimes have a little bit of dried fruit or nuts. Great choice. They do have added sugars. That's what makes them taste so good. But not too much. This one has 8 grams, which really isn't a lot for a bar. You can see some protein bars and things like that with as much as 20 to 30 grams of sugar.
So don't let the granola bar trick you. Look at the sugar.
Always look at the sugar in a granola bar. 8 grams, that's pretty reasonable for a granola bar, but it's still 2 teaspoons. And remember, we're already pretty far over the limit for the day. So we just keep racking them up. But it's okay, because at dinner we're going to have a really healthy meal. We're going to do grilled chicken, Brussels sprouts, brown rice. We're going to skip dessert.
Yeah.
End the day off on the right foot.
Right.
And to drink, we're going to wash it down with some good old-fashioned Southern sweet tea. So this sweet tea, I'm going to tell you, I'll go ahead and tell you, it's got 50 grams of sugar in it.
Oh, wow. So that has your whole day.
That has your whole day. The label's a little tricky because it says there's 20 grams in a serving. But if you look at the serving size, there's 2.5. So when you do the sugar math, there's really 50 grams of sugar in that. And that is 12.5 teaspoons. I'm just going to spoon it out really quick so we can see that.
I'm thinking, generally, to help us out, the general rule is watch out for drinking sugary drinks, right?
You got it.
Because I can't not eat oatmeal for breakfast, right? Or something for
You're
breakfast.
Right.
You have to have snacks and food, and that's going to have added sugar in it. So the best thing is to cut out. But I've read somewhere that people who drink diet drinks are still likely to have issues.
There's a lot.
What's the deal with the diet? You know, I like Splenda.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that okay?
I think there's a lot of debate out there right now. The dietary guidelines actually addresses added sugar, artificial sugars, things like Splenda and aspartame. And there's been debate because in research studies where they fed animals very large amounts of those artificial sweeteners, they've had negative health effects. It's never been seen in humans, and it's never been done with an amount that's actually comparable to what we would drink.
I mean, I might put
So
like
to have
2
a
packets.
diet soda a day or to use Splenda in your coffee, you're not going anywhere near the amount of sugar. And so the dietary guidelines address that, and they say that in the amount that's consumed by the average human, you're not even approaching a level where it would be dangerous for you.
Gotcha.
There have been other studies that show that people who consistently drink a lot of diet sodas or artificial sweeteners develop a taste for sweeter foods and maybe eat more or snack more. And I noticed that with myself as somebody who likes a diet soda every now and then. I always want something to go with it, like a potato chip or something salty. So it's really just all about balance. The point is not to give up all your favorite foods or to stop eating cereal or yogurt or bars, but it's to realize what are the big culprits in your diet that are adding on just so many grams of sugar that you don't realize. And you can see just from this demonstration that these two right here, it's the calories and the sugar that we drink that take us over the limit.
I hear you. Well, this has been very interesting, and I had gone to not drinking anything sweet, and actually in the last, say, 2 weeks, just because that was what was available at an event, or maybe twice the waitress brought the wrong drink, I just went ahead and drank the sweet, and so now I'm gonna pull it back together and go back to unsweet.
Right.
So thanks. This has kind of helped me out, and hopefully it's helped some of our viewers as well. But before we go to our next segment, I wanted to ask you, so NEP, we said you're from NEP. What in the world is NEP?
Right.
And what do they do here in Russell County?
Sure. NEP is the Nutrition Education Program. We are a program of Alabama Extension. However, we're part of a much larger national program called SNAP-Ed, and that's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So that's the program that gives food assistance dollars to people with low income to help them buy nutritious foods for a better diet. Part of that mission is to provide nutrition education. And that's what NEP does under the umbrella of Cooperative Extension.
Very good.
So we go out into communities like we're in Russell County, and we'll go do a program called Body Quest, Food of the Warrior. That's our obesity prevention initiative in schools. And so we get 3rd graders and their parents to come on board, and we teach all about nutrition and use iPad apps and recipes to prepare at home. And there's just a lot of fun components to that program.
Very cool.
And then we have a NEP educator that works in Russell County, and she'll go out to community events and places like food pantries, farmers markets, grocery stores, basically anywhere that we can get out in the community and reach people to provide this free resource of valuable nutrition education.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for being here. You're going to stick around because we're going to do a second segment with maybe kids in the kitchen or nutritious kids cooking. But before we go, I wanted to mention to our viewers, on May the 5th, we're having a native tree walk in conjunction with a fundraiser for the Fort Mitchell Historic Cemetery. So we'd like to invite you all to attend that. And also on May the 11th, we're having a sports field and athletic field turf training that's going to last all day here in Russell County. So anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about how to maintain turf, especially if you have a nice lawn, you might want to attend, but especially if you manage the golf courses, the athletic fields, ballparks, any kind of park like that, that training is specifically designed for that. If you're interested in registering for either of those programs, feel free to give us a call here at the Extension office. Our number is 334-298-6845. And again, I'm Jennifer Davidson with Russell County Extension. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Extension Monthly.
Tell me what can I do today?
Hey, let me get that for you.
Everybody needs a helping out. If that ain't what it's all about, tell me what.
Thank you, young man.
What can I
No problem.
do? What can I do today?
Courtesy. Pass it on.
I got it.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back to Extension Monthly. As I said, I'm from Nutrition Education Program, and we're going to cook something today for you that's a kid-friendly, veggie-rich, and nutritious recipe that can be used as either a snack or a meal. And I've got a sous chef here today. Her name is Abby, and she's going to help me, and we'll show you how you can get your kids to help you in the kitchen. So, Nutrition Education Program has a program called Body Quest that we do in schools, and we teach nutrition to third graders using iPad apps and games and classroom lessons. They get to taste veggies over and over again throughout a 15-week lesson. And so what we found is that when kids are exposed to vegetables numerous times over and over again and in different ways, they can develop a preference for them. And so they'll like vegetables as they grow older. So we get parents involved in the Body Quest program by sending home recipes for them, and they sign up to be recipe testers. So all of the recipes that we send home go home on these little magnets so they can stick right on the refrigerator, and the parents agree to make the recipes in the home and get the kids to help out. They get to wear these fun aprons and chef hats. This is Chef Yum Yum. She helps parents and kids cook together and make veggie dishes that are yum yum. And so I'm going to lay these out so you can see, but they send home about 6 recipes once every 2 weeks. And we find that having these in the home helps make a veggie-friendly environment so that when kids go home, they can actually apply the nutrition education that they learned at school. So today we're going to be making a cheesy quesadilla. Do you like quesadillas, Abby?
Yes, I do.
Good. Okay. Well, this is a really easy thing to make, and it's fun, too, because you get to use your hands.
Yeah.
You get to play with food. So we're going to just have a skillet on medium heat and spray with a little bit of cooking spray. And so this is just, instead of using butter, it just keeps the fat content of the dish a little lower. And then once the skillet is warm, we just take a quesadilla or a tortilla shell and just lay it right there in the skillet. So I used a whole grain tortilla as opposed to just a white flour tortilla. And when you go with whole grain, you get a little bit of extra fiber, a little bit of extra protein, there's less sodium. So it's just a little bit better of a choice than a white flour tortilla. Y'all right? Yeah. It's a smoky in here, isn't it? So once the tortilla is there warming, we're just going to add a little layer of cheese. I'm going to take a half a cup, maybe a little bit less, a fourth a cup if you don't need too much, and just sprinkle it on one side of the quesadilla. Okay, and while we're doing that, I want to get my sous chef Abby to tear up some spinach leaves for me. Can you do that?
Yes.
So you just tear the stem off and then break them up into little pieces, as small as you want. And we'll let that cheese melt down. So I also used a lower fat cheese. The dietary guidelines advise to eat. You can just put it right there on the plate for now. Good job. Just keep doing, let's do a few more too and I'll help you. So the dietary guidelines advise that when we do dairy products, we try to stick with low fat or fat free. So I choose a lower fat cheese, again, to just keep the fat content down. The great thing about a recipe like this is we're going to add spinach as the vegetable, but if you had corn or black beans at home, you could just throw that in. You could even make it a breakfast dish by adding some scrambled eggs, or if you had leftover chicken, toss it in. Really, once you have the base down for a simple and easy quesadilla and your kids can help you make it, you guys can choose together what you want to add. You think that's enough spinach?
Yeah, I think that's enough.
I think so too. Okay, so we just sprinkle it right on top there. And then the next thing we're going to add is our favorite salsa. You told me you like chips and salsa earlier, don't you? So whatever kind of salsa you like to buy at home, you can use here, and we just spoon a little bit on top.
I like the one in the pizza on the bottom of the pizza.
Oh yeah, like marinara sauce. You could use anything you want. Okay, so once that's there, all we have to do is fold the quesadilla over. The cheese is still working on melting. And then we're just going to flip it over and let it get warm on both sides. Okay, so do you ever eat spinach, Abby?
No.
I didn't think so. It's not really a very common vegetable that kids eat, but what we find in Body Quest is that when we let kids taste the spinach leaves over and over again, they tend to like it after a while. And so spinach is a really good vegetable to eat, even if you don't think you like veggies or you may not like green veggies.
The only vegetable the most I like is carrots.
Carrots are so good for you. Do you know why carrots are good for you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they have a lot of nutrition, but they have just a little amount of sugar.
You are so right. Good answer. And carrots help you with your vision because they're packed with vitamin A. So if you liked carrots, you could chop them up really small or shred them up and put them in this quesadilla too. You can add anything that you like. So once it's done, we just let it get warm on both sides, and then we'll take it out and we'll just put it on the plate. And what I like to do is take a little pizza cutter and cut it into wedges so it looks like the real deal, like what you get at a restaurant. Looks more fun to eat. And then we can just do another little spoonful of salsa right there on the plate and ready to go. What do you think?
Good.
Good job. You're a good helper. All right. Thank you for watching Extension Monthly. Tune back in next month.